Firstly, thank you so much for this privilege to be here at this event. I'm very grateful. To be on this hot seat, I don't even have a cool picture like that. But I'm going to get that in place for my next year's introductions. So in my own journey as an entrepreneur, I think for entrepreneurs, survival is your first and foremost responsibility because 99% startups fail. They die within their first 2 years. Even after funding, 90% startups fail. And so somewhere in the journey of surviving and just hanging on, because the #1 responsibility of a founder is actually to keep their company afloat. In that journey of surviving to building a large business, at some point you have to figure out corporate governance, having an equitable board. And I think we're on that journey, and it's very important because there is now enough data. I mean, there have been Fortune 500 companies observed over a period of time where participation of women at the CXO level and in boards leads to, on average, more profits. And there's data there. In a country like India, where less than 20% participation of women in workforce, there is an $800 billion GDP impact at stake if you're not able to move this number by another 10%. So I think there is a logical requirement of more equitable organizations from top to bottom. At the bottom now, at the entry level, we are seeing 33% participation, but like the anchor mentioned, there is the whole 25 to 40 years, which is a grave for women's careers where we get dropped off. And at the top, it's just about 5%. And I think that's what we need to solve for, because if we don't solve for it, it is going to be expensive for the economy and for the profits of the organization. And I think a person can make a big difference. If I talk about sugar, in an organization of 4,000, we have 3,000 women. That's about 75% participation of women in workforce. If I talk about my own investments in Shark Tank, more than 50% of the capital invested by me on Shark Tank has gone to organizations, companies, which have at least one woman founder. And I think just starting that flywheel, you can, if you put some women in decision-making positions, there is the ability to start making organizations more equitable. Because if you look at the funding gap, less than 2% of the capital globally goes to women-led companies. Now, as opposed to that, in Shark Tank, you have about more than 40% representation of women founders, which is leading to some investors like me putting 50% of our capital in women. And I think that's just the beginning, but we just have to do the best that we can.